For centuries, women have been placed into predefined boxes, rigid expectations of who they should be, how they should behave, and what roles they should fulfill. Society has always found comfort in labels, categorizing women into neat compartments based on their choices, appearances, and personalities. A woman who is outspoken is labeled too aggressive, while one who is soft-spoken is seen as too weak. A woman who prioritizes her career is told she is too ambitious, while one who focuses on family is labeled as someone who is settled. No matter what women do, there is always a box waiting for them, a set of limitations imposed by outdated beliefs and social norms. But the truth is, women do not belong in boxes. They are not one-dimensional beings who exist to fit into society's expectations. They are complex, evolving, and limitless, and it is time to stop forcing them into narrow definitions of what they should be. One of the biggest ways society boxes women in is through the expectations placed on their roles. Women are often told they can either be career-driven or family-oriented, but rarely both. If a woman chooses to dedicate herself to her profession, she is asked when she plans to settle down. If she chooses to stay home and raise children, she is made to feel as though she is not ambitious enough. These expectations ignore the reality that women are capable of balancing multiple identities and that their worth is not tied to whether they fit into a traditional mold. A woman's value is not determined by whether she gets married, has children, or chooses a high-powered career. She should have the freedom to carve her own path without being judged for it. Another common way women are placed into boxes is through beauty standards. Society constantly dictates how women should look, what size they should be, what clothes they should wear, and how they should present themselves. A woman who embraces her femininity is sometimes told she is too focused on appearances, while one who does not conform to traditional beauty norms is seen as someone who does not try hard enough. The impossible standards never end. Women should not have to conform to a single definition of beauty to be accepted or respected. They should not have to justify their choices, whether they wear makeup or not, whether they dress conservatively or boldly. Beauty is subjective, and every woman should have the freedom to define it on her own terms. Beyond appearances and roles, women are also placed into boxes based on their behavior. Assertive women are often called bossy or intimidating, while women who express emotions openly are labeled as too sensitive or dramatic. Society expects women to be confident but not too confident, independent but not unapproachable, kind but not naive. These contradictions make it impossible for women to simply be themselves. They are constantly navigating a fine line, ensuring they do not step too far outside what is deemed acceptable. But women do not exist to be palatable. They do not have to shrink themselves to make others comfortable. They should be able to express themselves freely without fear of being judged, criticized, or reduced to a single trait. The danger of putting women in boxes is that it limits their potential. It forces them to live according to expectations that were never theirs to begin with. It makes them feel as though they must choose between being strong or being nurturing, between being ambitious or being loving. But the truth is, women can be all of these things and more. They can be soft and strong, independent and deeply connected, powerful and kind. They do not have to fit into any one definition of womanhood. They should be allowed to exist fully, authentically, and without apology. The time has come to stop defining women by outdated stereotypes. Instead of placing them in boxes, society must create space for them to grow, evolve, and embrace their multifaceted identities. Women are not meant to be contained, they are meant to be limitless, and the sooner the world understands that, the better it will be for everyone. Real strength in a man is not about dominance, control, or proving superiority. It is about confidence, security, and the ability to uplift those around him, especially the women in his life. A real man does not feel threatened by a strong woman. He celebrates her strength. He does not see her independence as a challenge to his masculinity, but as an opportunity to build something meaningful together. Real men do not try to diminish women to make themselves feel bigger. They empower them, support them, and respect them as equals. Too often, society teaches men that power and leadership require submission from others, particularly from women. The outdated idea that a man must be in control, that he must always lead, and that a woman's strength somehow diminishes his role is a deeply flawed narrative. In reality, a strong man understands that true partnership is about mutual respect and shared strength. He does not need to overshadow a woman to feel important. Instead, he recognizes that a relationship is strongest when both partners are free to be their full, authentic selves. A man who empowers women is one who encourages them to chase their dreams, supports their ambitions, and stands beside them without insecurity. He does not view a woman's success as a threat to his own worth. Instead, he takes pride in seeing her thrive. He understands that strength is not about competition, but about collaboration. A strong woman does not need saving. She needs a partner who believes in her, who respects her choices, and who stands by her side, not in front of her or behind her. Real men are not intimidated by intelligence, independence, or ambition. They do not feel the need to diminish a woman's voice to make theirs louder. They understand that strength in a woman is an asset, not a flaw. They do not feel insecure if a woman earns more, leads a team, or makes her own decisions. Instead of feeling the need to control, they celebrate her ability to stand on her own while knowing that love is not about dependence, it is about choice. A real man does not seek to be needed, he seeks to be wanted, to be valued for who he is rather than for what he can provide. Empowering a strong woman also means allowing her the space to be vulnerable. Strength does not mean she never struggles, never feels doubt, or never needs support. A real man understands that just because a woman is independent does not mean she does not want emotional connection. He provides reassurance not because she cannot handle things on her own, but because he understands that everyone needs love, care, and support. He does not assume that her strength means she has to carry everything alone. Instead, he stands beside her, ready to share in both the triumphs and the challenges. A man who truly values strength in women does not just empower the woman he loves, he empowers all women. He respects his mother, supports his sister, encourages his female friends, and stands up for women in society. He does not remain silent in the face of discrimination, nor does he ignore the struggles women face. He listens, he learns, and he advocates for a world where women are treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. In the end, a real man is not one who is defined by outdated notions of power and control. He is someone who understands that the true measure of strength lies in lifting others up, not in holding them down. He sees a strong woman not as someone to fear, but as someone to admire, to love, and to walk beside as an equal. Because when men and women empower each other, they create relationships that are not just based on love, but on mutual respect, growth, and an unbreakable bond. Love is one of the most powerful and complex emotions, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. People often expect love to look a certain way, to be loud, obvious, and easily recognizable, but love is not always grand gestures, poetic words, or dramatic declarations. It is not just about saying I love you or making extravagant promises. Love is expressed differently by different people, and understanding these differences is essential in building meaningful relationships. Women in particular often express love in ways that are subtle yet deeply profound. They may not always articulate their feelings in words, but they show love in their actions, in their care, in the way they pay attention to the smallest details. A woman in love remembers the things that matter, the things that go unnoticed by most. She will remember how you take your coffee, the way your voice changes when you are stressed, or the little things that make you smile. She expresses love through presence, by being there in moments of triumph and moments of failure, by offering support even before you realize you need it. Love is also expressed through effort. It is in the things women do daily, the silent sacrifices, the constant thoughtfulness. It is in the way they encourage their loved ones to chase their dreams, in the way they celebrate achievements, and in the way they stand strong when times are difficult. Love is not always about loud declarations. Sometimes it is in the quiet moments, checking in after a long day, making sure you have eaten, remembering the things that bring you comfort. It is in the patience, the understanding, the willingness to give without expecting anything in return. At the same time, love is expressed differently by men and women, and this difference often leads to misunderstandings. While some express love through words and physical affection, others express it through actions, through problem solving, through being reliable and protective. A man may not always say, "I love you," as often as a woman would like, but he may show it by making sure she is safe, by working hard to provide, by fixing things before she even asks. Love is not always about how it is said, it is about how it is shown. One of the biggest challenges in relationships is the expectation that love should be expressed in the same way by both partners. But just because someone does not express love in the way you expect does not mean they do not love deeply. Women may crave verbal affirmation, while men may feel that their actions should speak for themselves. This difference can sometimes create tension, but true understanding comes from recognizing that love is not one size fits all. It is about learning to appreciate the way someone naturally expresses it, rather than trying to fit it into a predefined mold. Another important aspect of love is recognizing that people show love based on their past experiences, their upbringing, and their emotional needs. Some people express love openly because they grew up in environments where affection was encouraged. Others may struggle to verbalize their emotions because they were never taught how. This is why patience and communication are so vital in any relationship. Expecting someone to express love exactly as you do is unrealistic. Instead, understanding their unique way of showing love can strengthen the bond. Love is also expressed through space and freedom. It is in the ability to let someone grow, to trust them, to respect their individuality. It is not about control or possession. It is about allowing someone to be their authentic self while still choosing to stand beside them. Sometimes love means giving someone the room to chase their dreams, even if it means temporary distance. It means supporting them without making them feel guilty for their ambitions. True love is not restrictive. It is expansive. It does not limit. It empowers. The key to understanding love is to stop looking for it in only one form. It is in the small things, the everyday gestures, the silent understanding between two people. It is in patience, in forgiveness, in compromise. It is in the way someone listens, in the way they remember the little things, in the way they make an effort even when life gets busy. Love is not always perfect, and it is not always expressed the way we expect it to be. But if we learn to recognize it in all its forms, we realize that love is always there. It just speaks in different languages. Strength is often perceived as the ability to remain unshaken, to withstand pressure without bending, to carry the weight of the world without showing signs of struggle. For women, this expectation is even more pronounced. Society has long admired strong women, those who push through adversity, who take care of everyone around them, who never complain and never break. But the truth is, strength is not the absence of struggle. It is not about suppressing emotions, nor is it about carrying burdens alone. True strength includes vulnerability, and to be vulnerable is not to be weak. It is to be human. Women are taught from an early age to be strong in ways that often mean silencing their pain. They're told to be resilient, to endure, to put others before themselves. They are praised for being independent, for handling everything life throws at them without flinching. But somewhere along the way, vulnerability becomes something to be ashamed of. Admitting exhaustion, expressing sadness, or asking for help is seen as a sign of weakness. The reality, however, is quite the opposite. It takes incredible strength to be vulnerable, to let one's guard down, to allow others to see the raw, unfiltered emotions that society often demands be hidden. A woman who acknowledges her vulnerabilities is not fragile, she is fearless. It takes courage to admit when she is struggling, to express when she is hurting, to open up about her fears and doubts. Pretending to have everything under control at all times is not strength, it is self-denial. Real strength comes from accepting that no one has all the answers, that it is okay to feel lost sometimes, and that needing support does not make a woman any less independent. The strongest women are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who rise again, even when they have to ask for a hand to help them up. Vulnerability also fosters deeper connections. In relationships, both romantic and otherwise, true intimacy is built not just through moments of confidence and certainty, but also through moments of fear, hesitation, and honesty. A woman who allows herself to be vulnerable creates space for others to do the same. It is through vulnerability that trust is formed, that meaningful conversations happen, that love becomes deeper. Strength is not about proving that one does not need anyone. It is about knowing when to let someone in. The misconception that vulnerability is weakness is one of the biggest barriers to emotional well-being. When women feel pressured to suppress their emotions, they carry a weight that becomes unbearable over time. They hesitate to cry, fearing it will be seen as overreacting. They hesitate to ask for help, fearing it will be seen as dependence. They hesitate to share their struggles, fearing they will not be taken seriously. But the moment a woman allows herself to feel without shame, to ask without guilt, and to share without fear, she discovers a strength far greater than the one that comes from pretending to be invincible. Strength and vulnerability are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. To be strong is to have the courage to acknowledge one's feelings, to embrace emotions rather than suppress them, to understand that allowing oneself to be seen fully, completely, and authentically is one of the most powerful things a person can do. Women do not need to prove their strength by carrying everything alone. They do not need to hide their pain to be respected. Strength is not about standing tall at all times. It is about standing tall even after falling. It is about knowing that vulnerability does not diminish power. It amplifies it. Good evening, everyone. Today I want to talk about something that has been misunderstood, underestimated, and sometimes even ignored for far too long. Women. Who we are, what we want, and what we need men to understand about us. Because let's be honest, there's a lot that gets lost in translation. We live in a world where women are constantly told who to be strong but not too strong, be independent but not intimidating, be beautiful but don't try too hard. And the most exhausting part, we are expected to do it all with a smile. But let me set the record straight. Women don't need permission to be who they are, and we certainly don't need saving. What we do, need, what we demand is understanding. So men, listen closely because this is what you really need to know about women. Respect is not a privilege, it is a fundamental right. It is the foundation upon which every relationship, every interaction, and every society should be built. Yet when it comes to women, respect is often conditional. It is given when it is convenient, when it aligns with expectations, or when it serves a purpose. But true respect is not something that should be earned. It should be inherent. It should not be based on appearance, status, or whether a woman conforms to societal norms. It should not fluctuate depending on how agreeable, how accommodating, or how pleasing she is to others. Respect is a baseline, not a reward. Women have been fighting for respect for centuries, yet the struggle remains. We see it in workplaces where women have to work twice as hard to be taken seriously. We see it in households where their contributions are often overlooked or dismissed. We see it in relationships where their autonomy and choices are questioned. The fact that women still have to demand respect in 2025 is not just disappointing, it is unacceptable. Respect should not be an afterthought, it should be the first instinct, the natural response, and the bare minimum in any interaction with a woman. One of the biggest misconceptions about respect is that it is tied to likability. People often respect women who fit a particular mold, the kind who do not challenge the status quo, who are agreeable, who do not make others uncomfortable with their ambition or assertiveness. But true respect is not selective. It does not mean only supporting women who align with one's personal preferences or values. It means acknowledging that women have the right to be whoever they choose, whether or not that aligns with someone else's idea of who they should be. Respecting women means recognizing their intelligence, their ambition, and their choices. It means understanding that their worth is not defined by their relationships, their beauty, or their ability to conform to expectations. A woman is not just someone's daughter, wife, sister, or mother. She is an individual in her own right. Too often, society teaches men to respect women only in relation to their roles in a man's life. The idea that a woman deserves respect because she is someone's mother or sister is flawed, because it implies that respect must be justified. A woman deserves respect simply because she exists. The way a man treats women says more about him than it does about them. Respect is not about grand gestures, it is about everyday actions. It is about listening when a woman speaks without interrupting or dismissing her opinions. It is about giving her space to exist without constantly policing her choices, her clothing, or her behavior. It is about standing up against sexism, even when it is uncomfortable. It is about making sure that women feel safe in public spaces without the burden of defending themselves or proving their worth. Respect is also about understanding boundaries. Women are not obligated to be nice to everyone. They do not owe anyone their time, attention, or validation. When a woman says no, it is not an invitation for negotiation. When she asserts herself, it is not an attitude problem. When she chooses herself over pleasing others, it is not selfish, it is self-respect. And a man who truly respects women will never make her feel guilty for prioritizing herself. There is also a deep connection between respect and equality. True respect means recognizing that women deserve the same opportunities, the same freedoms, and the same autonomy as men. It means not just saying that women should be respected, but ensuring that respect translates into action. It means advocating for equal pay, standing against harassment, and dismantling the barriers that keep women from reaching their full potential. It means understanding that women should not have to prove their worth in spaces where men are automatically given authority. Respect is the foundation of progress. It is the key to healthy relationships, thriving workplaces, and a better society. It is not a favor, it is a necessity. And until every woman is respected without conditions, without exceptions, and without hesitation, the fight is not over. Independence is often misunderstood when it comes to women. It is seen as a shield, a declaration that they do not need anyone, least of all love or companionship. But independence is not isolation. It is not a rejection of love, care, or emotional connection. It simply means that a woman knows her worth, understands her strength, and is capable of standing on her own, with or without someone by her side. However, just because she can do it alone does not mean she wants to. Just because she is strong does not mean she does not crave partnership. The ability to stand alone and the desire for love are not contradictions, they coexist. A woman's independence is often seen as a threat, especially in relationships. Some people assume that if a woman is successful, financially stable, and emotionally self-sufficient, she has no room for a partner in her life. This could not be further from the truth. Love is not about dependence, it is about connection. Women do not seek love because they need saving or because they cannot function without a partner. They seek love because, like everyone else, they want to share their journey, their successes, their challenges, and their dreams with someone who truly understands them. There is a common misconception that independent women are difficult to love, that they do not need reassurance, that they do not require emotional support, or that they will not make space for a partner in their lives. The reality is that independent women love deeply, but they do so from a place of strength rather than necessity. They do not cling to love out of fear of loneliness. They choose it because they want it. They are not looking for someone to complete them, but rather for someone to complement their lives. A partner who respects their ambitions, who understands that their drive and passion do not take away from their ability to love fully and unconditionally. A woman's independence should not intimidate a man, it should inspire him. A strong woman does not make a man less valuable, she makes the relationship more meaningful. She is not looking for someone to provide for her, but for someone who can walk beside her, not ahead of her or behind her. She wants a partner who sees her as an equal, not as someone who needs to be controlled or softened to fit into a certain mold. The most successful relationships are not built on one person's dependence on the other. They are built on mutual respect, support, and the freedom to be one's true self. Independence also means having the courage to walk away from situations that do not serve one's happiness. Women who know their worth will not stay in relationships where they are disrespected, undervalued, or taken for granted. They do not fear being alone because they know that their happiness does not depend on another person. It depends on themselves. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect. It is the understanding that love should add to their lives, not diminish them. It should bring growth, not restriction. It should be a source of strength, not insecurity. At the same time, independence does not mean shutting people out. A woman can be strong and still need support. She can be fearless and still appreciate words of encouragement. She can be self-sufficient and still want to lean on someone in moments of doubt. Independence does not mean she has everything figured out all the time. It simply means she has the confidence to face life's challenges on her own if she has to, but she would much rather have someone who chooses to stand with her through it all. The idea that a woman must choose between independence and love is outdated and flawed. Women deserve to have both. They should not have to prove their strength by rejecting companionship, nor should they have to downplay their independence to be loved. A woman can be ambitious and still be deeply romantic. She can be fiercely driven and still long for emotional connection. She can be independent and still want a love that nurtures, respects, and empowers her. Because in the end, love is not about needing someone, it is about wanting them, choosing them, and growing with them.